for some peace of mind, but TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat, and someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line, and Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling, my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Good morning, everyone. It is the week of Halloween, which means I get to dress up in costumes every day this week, which is, is like the awesomest thing ever. And now my vanity's ready to go, and I sort of know where all of my hair stuff is, so this is all good. Except I will need to be doing slight alterations on this. They definitely, I am a different size than when I bought this, so I will have to do some shearing in the back to get it. Or if you are a kid of the early 90s, remember when your mom would wear the big tunics and then there was this like scrunchy thing with little alligator clips on it? It was not in fact a roach holder, but it was to make those big old tent things look smaller, which... why didn't you just buy a smaller shirt? But if you, traversed the perils that were early 90s fashion, y'all know what I'm talking about. So I just need to scrunch it in the back just a little. It looks like we have a lot of news. There is something breaking about the NBA and math and numbers. I have no idea, y'all. So I'll just bring you the news as I see it, but I do know there's something big going on with the NBA and betting, and it looks like there was something else involved with betting as far as the NFL goes. So maybe don't bet on sporting teams right now. Good morning, Tammy, and thanks for being a member for 14 months. It doesn't seem like I've been doing this longer than 2 months some days. I'm like... That being said, that is my level of professionalism most days. That being said, let's get into some of the news. It looks like Antonio Gates is being charged, or it's being alleged that he hosted and played in a rigged Miami poker game per reports. And thank you, Alice G. I had a lot of fun. I got to play with my curling iron, and since I now have a vanity, all of my stuff is in one place. So that is super fun. And thank you so much, Tammy. I appreciate it. Mr. Mo was like, you're going to be dressing up every day. And I was like, yes, this is my favorite holiday of the year. My second favorite is when Valentine's Day candy is on sale. So the day after Valentine's Day is always my other favorite holiday. Mr. Mo's like, well, at least you're playing dress up and we're actually going to use these. Antonio Gates allegedly hosted and played in a rigged Miami poker game, according to new reports that are coming out. Now, sports investigative journalist Pablo Torre reported on Sunday that Hall of Fame tight end had hosted and participated in an allegedly rigged game that was organized by Curtis Meeks, who was indicted by federal prosecutors as part of the massive gambling scandal that has recently rocked the NBA. Now, as I have said, y'all, it's sports ball. I have no idea, but someone's cheating someone, and apparently it was with the federal government and taxes and not their wives this time. Now, details are limited, but Torre's report follows a report by the Post on Saturday, one where purported victims said that he and his friends had been scammed of nearly $1 million when the ex-NFL player serving as the face card for the game in which Meeks was the main participant. Now, the federal indictment that was unsealed last week named more than 30 people and painted a picture of separate and elaborate sports betting and rigged poker game schemes that involved Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Heat guard Terry Rozier, along with former NBA player Damon Jones. Now, federal prosecutors have alleged that Billups had been involved as a face card for the rigged poker games, linked with mobbed organizers and him to use to lure fish or, other people to steal their money, I guess, into this high-tech scheme. Now, Gates has not publicly commented on the report, and it's unclear if his alleged involvement is related to the rigged poker scheme that the federal prosecutors are now looking into. Now, the source that spoke with the Post could not say if the name he played in was part of the same poker ring, but he said that Meeks was participating in the game they were playing in and noted that he would have never, this victim would have never been there if it had not been for this NBA player to be there at that particular game. Now, the person did not name the athlete when they talked to the Post. So this is going to be a big thing. I don't quite understand it all, but definitely if you're into sports ball, this is going to be a big one. Another big one, and not in the fear prawn way, but definitely if you live on the coast where you could be affected, maybe start making some plans because Hurricane Melissa has been upgraded to a Category 4. Hurricane Melissa has strengthened to a Category 4 storm as it churned its way northwest through the Caribbean Sea on Sunday, taking direct aim at Jamaica. Now, a hurricane warning, meaning that hurricane conditions are expected, was in effect for both Jamaica on Sunday and some regions of Cuba. Now, definitely. So it does look like, it could possibly affect Florida or the East Coast. So do pay attention. That being said, I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. Hang out with Ryan Hall if you need to have more clear news. But keep an eye on Melissa if you are on the coastal areas and even further inland, because we have seen with like Helen and stuff that, sometimes these storm systems can stall. So definitely keep an eye on that. You don't need to go out and build your own bunker, but, do keep a general eye on this if you are in areas that, may experience a touch of Melissa. And having gone to middle school with a bunch of Melissas, I can say they are not nice. They are not nice. Stay away from Melissas. Well, UFO trackers are showing thousands of eerie underwater objects that are lurking along the U.S. coast. So now we have underwater aliens. I still can't get over the fact that we all might be hybrid alien, things according to that one study by that one Russian scientist. But now we have underwater merman aliens. I'm out. The truth is under there. A popular UFO reporting app has recorded thousands of sightings of unidentified submersible objects near U.S. waterways, a phenomenon which high-ranking Navy officials warn could pose a threat to national security. Enigma, which touts itself as the, quote, largest queryable historical sighting database for global UFO sightings, claims that it has received more than 30,000 unidentified flying object and unidentified anomalous phenomenon since starting in late 2022. Now, the sightings have not been limited to the sky, their report says, but it's also coming out about strange objects rising from the depths of the sea or plunging into the water without so much as a splash. Well, there we go. It's just a family of Loch Nesses. That being said, as of August, Enigma has also logged nearly 9,000 mysterious sightings within 10 miles of U.S. shorelines or major bodies of water, 500 of them within 5 miles, or more than 150 of the reports describing objects that would hover above or descend into waterways, according to Marine Technology Report News. Now, U.S. states with the most reported UFO sightings are in California and Florida. Both states that I'm going to say that I need to see the video first. Florida, we know why. And California, we know why. Now, both are among the top three U.S. states with the most ocean, coastline. So obviously they would be up on the top. We're not going to get a lot of ocean UFOs in Indiana. Shocking. Now, one of the most bizarre reports includes a phone camera video of an unexplained green light traveling beneath the ocean surface. Now, the app released maps plotting out the supposed sightings representing clusters of orange dots rubbing up and down the east and west coast. Now, UFO sightings are nothing new, and they're often dismissed as crackpottery by much of the scientific community or regulated to the stuff of science fiction. But retired Rear Admiral Tim Galat warns that UFOs with the ability to go from air to sea without crashing or even creating a splash could have world-changing ramifications. Regardless, yes, I mean, I think the fact that we have a super intelligent alien race living under our oceans would be a little bit more earth-shocking, but sure, having a transport that can, be water and air, yeah. The fact that unidentified objects with unexplainable characteristics are entering U.S. water space and the DoD is not raising a giant red flag is a sign that the government is not sharing all it knows and about all domain anonymous, phenomenon. Now, alarm bells were raised in July 2019 when the USS Omaha recorded a UFO or UAP that vanished into the ocean without a trace after buzzing a naval fleet off the coast of San Diego. Now, the video of the incident was verified by the Pentagon, displaying capabilities that, the Rear Admiral says, he's never seen. Now, in his 29-page report for UFO-focused think tank Soul Foundation, the Rear Admiral said that there's a documented pattern of similar phenomenon being reported. So are you telling me that there's a super smart underwater alien, thing, and they're still letting us play with sea monkeys? Is Jason Momoa going to be their prime minister? Because I'm kind of okay with that. I mean, as long as he uses deodorant. Because no. Anywho, underwater aliens now. I didn't think I'd put that on my, bingo list, but that's what we've got. Well, in kind of addition to, the first story that I ran, it looks like there are more updates about this NBA gambling scandal that is breaking. It looks like maybe mob families might have been enjoying the old gambling and bookie, thing that seems to be somewhat stereotypical of mob families. The New York Mafia is still kicking, and it may be more powerful than experts believed. Several members of the New York City's most prominent crime families were among the dozens of people that were arrested on Thursday in connection with rigged poker games that federal officials say involved tens of millions of dollars and high-profile NBA figures. Now, prosecutors allege that the illegal poker games that cheated participants out of nearly $7 million through the use of special shuffling machines and high-tech sunglasses that enabled conspirators to scheme and read the back of cards, among other tactics, were run by the Gambino, Bonanno, Lucchese, and Genovese families. These games created a financial pipeline for La Cosa Nostra to help fund and facilitate their organized criminal activity, said Christopher Raya, assistant director in charge of FBI's New York field office. Now, this alleged scheme wreaked havoc across the nation, exploiting the notoriety of some and the wallets of many to fund the Italian family's crime here in New York. Now, La Cosa Nostra refers to one of the three major mafia confederations in Italy, from which American mafia organizations are descended. Daniel Della Posta, a professor of sociology at Pennsylvania State University who has studied crime networks between mafia families, can tell the time. Well, yeah, or we can just watch, the Godfather. Now, the Confederation in New York involves 5 families who have dominated the city's organized crime scene since they emerged from a pivotal conflict called the Castamarese War in the 1930s. Now, in total, 13 members and associates of the 4 of those 5 have been indicted in the federal gambling investigations. Now, although the families once wielded control within New York City, like far-reaching, their influence and membership, seemed to have been going down in the 1980s, with corporate takeovers and prosecutions. But the alleged involvement of some of these very prominent families in this gambling scheme could be a sign of their ongoing power. Now, the Gambino, Bonanno, Lucchese, and Genovese families are accused of running rigged poker games, taking cuts from the profit, and forcefully going after those who owed them debts. Now, victims of the scheme, according to prosecutors, were lured by the presence of celebrities like former NBA player and coach Damon Jones and current Portland Trailblazer head coach Chauncey Billups, who were allegedly cut in on the proceeds. Now, one of the victims lost $1.8 million in the manufactured gambling matches, according to New York State or City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch. Now, the poker games, which allegedly began as early as 2019, primarily took place in New York City, according to officials, who said they occurred in Greenwich Village, Kips Bay neighborhoods of Manhattan, as well as popping up in the Hamptons, Miamis, and Las Vegas. Now, since those are all different states, that is why they are able to get federal with this, because they did basically cross state lines if the state can prove that they were doing nefarious, stuff across state lines. Now, that being said, I don't know enough about poker. I'm a mean war player, but I don't know enough about poker to understand what all is going on, but expect more of this kind of stuff to come out in the interceding weeks. Now, we've got some updates on the Louvre. One man went kind of viral after he was spotted looking extremely dapper. This article doesn't really do anything, but I just thought it was funny. And, he's a sharp dresser. I say he should get a little bit more. Now, that's an arresting style. A man who stepped into a photo taken outside of the Louvre in Paris during the investigation into the recent brazen crown jewels heist at the famous museum has gone a little bit viral. The mystery man, who was dressed in a 3-piece suit with a dark-colored jacket and gold vest topped with a fedora and an umbrella used as a walking stick, had social media buzzing, comparing him to Inspector Clouseau from the Pink Panther and Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot. Look, I don't know if it's Hercule or her. Look, it's Belgian. I don't know. Now, many have seemed to believe that the dashing man was the chief inspector on the case, or some even speculated that his dapper appearance hinted at an elegant criminal who was involved in the heist somehow. One ex-user wrote of the photo, "Actual shot, not AI," of a French detective working the case of the crown jewels, that were stolen from the Louvre. Now, another claimed that the man looked like he had just come out of a detective film noir from the 1940s and is actually, a French police detective who's investigating the theft. But an Associated Press photographer who did, snap this picture said last Sunday that he had no reason to believe that the man had anything to do with the Louvre investigation. He was just someone who stepped into the frame. The photographer told his outlet that he believed the man had a bit of, I don't know what, je ne sais quoi, just it added a little bit of moi to his photos. He appeared in front of me, I saw him, and I took the photo, the photographer said. And now Parisian authorities decided to add a little French intrigue to the mystery when they asked the AP if they could identify the man. "We'd rather keep the mystery alive," the Paris prosecutor's office answered. Last Sunday morning, 4 masked criminals stole several pieces of priceless gems from the crown jewel collection after breaking into a gallery soon after the museum had opened. So we know that, but it does look like there are arrests coming, or they have announced that they've found some people. French prosecutors said on Sunday that they have announced arrests have been made in connection with the brazen daylight heist of the historic jewels, more than $100 million worth, from the Louvre in Paris. Lori Baku, the Paris prosecutor, said in a statement from the office's anti-gang unit that they had made arrests Saturday evening but would not disclose precisely how many arrests had been made. Now, it was previously reported that at least 4 people were believed to have been involved in the heist last Sunday. And thank you, Raiders. Thank you, thank you. Now, Baku revealed that one of the men was preparing to flee the country from Paris's Charles de Gaulle airport when he was arrested. Now, the arrest had been the first reported by French newspaper La Parisienne, citing anonymous sources, but the news was then confirmed by the prosecutor. Now, the prosecutor lamented that the leak in the arrest, going out to the media, had been made before authorities were ready to disclose that they had found someone. Okie dokie. I deeply regret the hasty disclosure of this information by informed individuals without consideration for the investigation, she said in her statement. This revelation can only hinder the investigative efforts of the 100 or so investigators mobilized in the search for the stolen jewelry and the perpetrators. It's too early to provide any details. Now, she said she would provide further information to the public at the end of this phase of police custody. Now, a representative for the Louvre confirmed to, outlets last week that several people had broken in. So it does look like arrests are coming through, but we haven't been given a lot of information. I don't know how privacy, how rules of discovery and all that stuff works in Paris. So we might be waiting for a long while until, more investigative information is disseminated. But if I see more updates about the heist, I definitely will let you guys know about that. Now, the search for a missing 9-year-old centers on a road trip with a mother who police say is being uncooperative. I will not do this story again, y'all. I will not. Look at this beautiful little angel baby. Look at those sparkly, beautiful brown eyes. If I have to have one more parent that's like, I lost my baby, Susan Smith style, only to be the one that Susan Smith them, I'm going to lose it. Because it's heartbreaking. There are people that want children. Let them have these children. If you do not want to if you cannot be a grown-up human adult, then give these children to someone who would love them, because that is a beautiful little girl. And now the parents aren't being cooperative. I want to hold out hope for this story, but unfortunately, I don't know. And I hope we get a better answer than we have the last couple times I've done a story like this. A school administrator reported a 9-year-old girl missing when she hadn't been seen in months. And these are always the stories where when there is a large gap between when the child has, been last seen and then when it's reported, that I get the sinking feeling that we got with Megan Boswell, that we got with little Emilio, I believe, in California. So it's just, I'm getting a little tired of these ratchet-ass parents. Now, when deputies went to Melody Buzzard's home to investigate, her mother was there, but the young girl was nowhere to be found. Now, officials are investigating why her mother drove them in a rental car from California to Nebraska, and why the 9-year-old was apparently wearing a wig in several surveillance photos that captured this trip earlier this month. Now, the last person who saw Melanie was her mother, Ashley, on October 7th, possibly during that road trip to Nebraska, as authorities have said. But Ashley has been uncooperative with investigators through the search for the missing child. Melody's disappearance has sparked an investigation into the child's whereabouts as the search is entering its second week. We are hopeful that Melody might be with someone, perhaps an extended member of the family or friend, who is not aware of the circumstances of her disappearance, said Santa Barbara County Sheriff Bill Brown. Now, with only years-old photos of Melody and an allegedly uncooperative mother, officials are looking at with scant details about the young girl, but detectives have narrowed down a critical timeline to 3 days in early October. Now, authorities first went looking for Melody at her home in Lompoc, about an hour's drive away from Santa Barbara, after a school administrator reported her continued absence on October 14th, but they could not find the child. No verbal explanation or, any sort of explanation about her whereabouts was provided. Now, the investigation indicates that Melody was with her mother as recently as October the 7th, the FBI released on Facebook. On October 7th, the first day of the investigators' 3-day timeline, the young girl was spotted in surveillance photos wearing what appeared to be a wig to disguise her natural hair, but as well as a hooded sweatshirt with the hood pulled over her head. And these photos were taken at a local car rental agency. So it does look like there is some attempt to hide this child's, identity, and there could be custody things going on in the background, but definitely let's hope that we find this little girl safe. Now, during the following days, the FBI believes that Ashley took a road trip with her daughter in a rented white Chevrolet Malibu with the license plate 9MNG101 as far as Nebraska. Now, the trip back included a stop in Kansas. On October 10th, investigators said that Ashley returned to her home without her daughter, narrowing down a window of when the young girl could have gone missing. Now, CNN has attempted to reach out to the mother for comment. Detectives are now focusing on determining where Melody was during those 3 days and where she might be now. Now, family members did hold a vigil in their hometown on Friday near the home where investigators first went to look for Melanie, according to the Lompoc Record. If she's listening, we love you, we're here for you, and we just want you to be happy, her grandmother, Lily Dennis, told CNN affiliate KSBY. Call me, there are numbers on TV that you can call, and I'll come pick you up. Now, Melanie's father passed away from a car crash when she was only 6 months old. The last known photograph of Melanie that investigators are using is from 2023, with FBI's missing poster describing her to being anywhere from 4 feet, flat to 4 feet 6 inches tall, weighing anywhere from 60 to 100 pounds. Our detectives are following every lead in this case. We continue to seek information from the public that will help us find Melody. Now, I know it's a long shot, and I know I'm probably not going to go outside, but, and I'm a small channel, but take a look at this face, maybe when you're out and about, just take a look. Not like go up to people, and if you see a little girl with curly, beautiful hair, holler out and call the FBI, but just keep your eyes peeled. I mean, every little bit helps. So maybe if everyone, who sees the story just keeps their eyes peeled, maybe I want this to have a happy ending. It is the week of Halloween. This needs to have a happy ending. I need this. I need this. Humanity needs this at this point. Well, the Laugh Factor manager was arrested in front of his mother outside Chicago Comedy Club by federal agents. She is not going to have anything to put in the holiday photo or holiday letter where you lie and, brag on your family. I mean, how do you put, "This year has been challenging. Little Jimmy got arrested by the feds"? I mean, I don't know. A manager at the Laugh Factory in Chicago was arrested for allegedly obstructing a federal immigration operation, but his mother claimed that agents kidnapped him before her eyes. Now, the Chicago Police Department said they responded to the call of battery in progress outside the club at around 9:20 a.m. on Friday, where they found federal agents involved in a physical altercation with 2 individuals. Now, a viral video of the encounter shows federal agents taking on night manager Nathan Griffin and decentralizing him just a bit, on the ground. As onlookers scream at the agents during the chaotic scene. Now, the video shows the manager along with his mother, Elaine Playbun, and the agents in a physical struggle. Grandma got into a row with the feds? That is kind of awesome. Like, I want to see Grandma. Oh, well, she does look kind of like the mom from the Goonies, so I think she'd pimp slap hard. I wouldn't go against this woman. We need to go check on Chonk, though, because he needs a baby Ruth. Speaking of him needing a baby Ruth, I need a baby Ruth. That being said, she could probably take me. Look, she's got a lot of rage. built up. Now, it's not clear who started this, tussle between the feds, the mom, and the son, but at one point, agents seemed to be restraining the mother on the ground, too. The family that felonies together is the family that stays together. Now, she does look a little Kathy Batesy. It's just Halloween week, and I thought, well, I've got this, and I can, put my hair in pigtails, which was really the only kind of cogent thought. I was just like, I get to do vintage pigtails. Sometimes thoughts are no deeper or more complicated than Mo just wants to wear a fun hairstyle. In sad news, a missing Vermont college student, Leah Smith, has been confirmed deceased. Medical examiner has released the cause of her death. Now, missing Middlebury College student Leah Smith has officially been confirmed deceased. Smith, 21, was reported missing by her father on Sunday, October 19th, 2 days after she was last seen on campus. Now, a body was discovered near the college by Vermont State Police on Thursday, October 23rd, and an autopsy has now confirmed that those remains were that of Smith, per a press release from Vermont Police Department. Now, Vermont's medical examiner office did determine that she died by her own hand. And, for the family, for the friends, this is probably a heartbreak that no family wants to go through, and having it be as public as, them having a whole search and rescue. I do hope that their family and friends are able to take this information and get the support they need to try to rebuild something after this. Now, there was a big search that, because she was a college student that went missing, and unfortunately, this is not the news that anyone wanted to have. Now, Middlebury College president Ian Baucom announced the news to the campus community in a statement on Facebook Saturday, sharing that he had spoken to Smith's family and expressed his heartbreak to them. As a president, far more as a fellow parent, I ache for them. This is a profound loss that no one should have to endure. And Sarah, oh gosh, where'd it go? No, I know it went somewhere. No, I didn't mean to delete that, Sarah. I am sorry. I fat fingered it. Damn it all to hell. I did not mean to delete that. I am having a Monday. Sorry, Sarah. I haven't seen the Kata case. I am all flitter here. So sorry, Sarah. And I haven't seen that one yet. I have been absolutely trying to get back on track. So I will be hoping to get back onto some. So I'll have to look into that. The Kata Scott case. Okay, I will look that up. I haven't even looked at that. I know there are so many ones going on, but I actually have like a notebook and a plan today. In theory, I'm actually going to be editing a video or collapsing in defeat and day drinking. But I do have intentions, like Sarah Boone. I am going to intentionally try to edit a video today. Whether that, ends up in me crying hysterically day drinking or actually a cogent video is all up to the YouTube gods. That being said, back to I do have my river dance videos. I need to send them to Megan. Hopefully she can do something with them. Because I did as best as I can. I have learned that I'm not, so I can do anything, almost anything, like dress up as in a mullet, go to Walmart, dance. Dancing is the one thing that I have to be incredibly drunk, to do. So, and that would be a great thing, except when Mo is incredibly drunk and try to do a spin and she has a uncomfortable relationship with gravity, nothing good happens. So Mr. Mo was having to stop and help me like, you're gonna fall over. The only person that could almost injure herself dancing in front of a green screen. But I almost did because I thought I could do a spin. And, Tom Krapp looks or Tom Cruise makes look dancing in socks seem really, really smart, but I forgot I have the grippy socks for the klutzy and paired of us. You cannot do a risky business with some socks. You look like your cat when they're trying to backpedal before they run into the wall. Just doesn't look good. That being said, back to this article, I am just hoping that this is a reminder to reach out to your kiddos. Reach out to the people that you love. Sometimes the people that are wearing the biggest smiles are struggling with some of the deepest, heaviest stuff. And that being said, this heartbreak, just we need to check in on the people we love. Headlines, true crime, all of that is fun, but the real thing that we need to remember is we've got all of these people that are way more important than a meme or an email or a thread. But let's check in with people. Let's check in with our loved ones because we might not always have them. It looks like we might be getting some more. We had a blast. She got to hang out with friends and took her out to eat. So it was nice. And she got to hang out with her friends and kind of give us a rundown on her classes. So it was really nice. But I think we have prepared her well for dorm chaos because I was like, yeah, how are you doing with the dorm? It's not too loud. She's like, no, I think this house got me ready. It does look like we might have some breaks in the Amy Bradley case. Now, I know that there was a documentary that just came through, and on Wednesdays, I have a set time to look at documentaries. So this will be the one that I will be looking into to give a review for next week. The Amy Bradley recently released, I believe on Netflix or Amazon. They recently released this. But it does look like there might be more information coming out. New details have reportedly emerged regarding an American college graduate who disappeared from her family's tropical vacation nearly 27 years ago, potentially cracking open a case that has since gone cold. Now, Amy Bradley was 23 when her families embarked on a 7-day Royal Caribbean International cruise to the tropics in 1998. Now, the trip was meant to celebrate Bradley's recent college graduation and her future pursuit of a master's degree in sports psychology. Now, the celebration quickly turned to tragedy when Bradley vanished in the early morning hours of March 24th as the ship was docked in Caraco. Now, earlier this year, Bradley's story was revisited in a 3-part Netflix documentary series titled Amy Bradley is Missing. Now, the show release brought in hundreds of new leads to the FBI and Bradley's family, with 3 very significant revelations piquing interest of investigators, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Now, while countless theories have circulated regarding Bradley's disappearance, investigators initially determined the recent college graduate likely fell overboard or possibly jumped from the ship. However, the family has widely disputed both ideas and have instead looked into the evidence suggesting that Bradley may have been a victim of trafficking while aboard the ship. Now, a source involved in the documentary has revealed evidence gathered after the show's production provides structure to the latter theory. Now, again, this is all really, really speculative, and the FBI hasn't come out with this. So while this may be something that we can maybe put a little pin on, it's still speculation. The FBI hasn't come out with anything. So we do need to kind of keep this, this isn't set in stone yet. Now, according to the source, a female bar server aboard the cruise ship had reportedly approached authorities to recount that on the night that Bradley went missing, she was heard yelling to passengers and the crew, "Senorita kidnapped, senorita kidnapped." Now, the server reportedly did not speak much English, so she was promptly taken to the back of the restaurant by a bartender, according to the source. However, the experts point to the importance of this revelation revolving around the statement and when it was actually made, not just what it had been, what has been said so far. That would be helpful. What would be helpful to know is, when did this account happen? Peter Valen, the chair of Forensic Science Department at the University of New Haven and former Connecticut State Police detective, was telling the press. When did the bartender make those statements, and when did they precede everyone's knowledge of her disappearance? It's really the timing of the statement, not the disclosure. Now, Bradley ultimately disappeared after an evening in the ship's nightclub with her brother. Her father, Ron, recalled last seeing Bradley asleep on the cabin's balcony. Now she vanished a half an hour later, prompting a frantic search aboard the ship. When the first statement was made, was her disappearance public knowledge on the boat then at that time? Clearly everyone knew at some point that she was missing, but when was the timing of that statement? Another potential break in the case comes from new, highly suspicious hit to Bradley's missing person website, which is professionally monitored for activity. Now, this website has reportedly seen an uptick of activity, within the region of where they were traveling in Mexico during the holidays, prompting investigators to theorize that Bradley could be visiting the site to feel closer to her family, or that her captors are monitoring the case. Now, I do have to say, it does seem incredibly Pollyanna to imagine that for 27 years, captors have been essentially feeding, clothing, and, taking basic minimal care of an abductee. That being said, it would be lovely if she just, not lovely, but if all of this came down and it turned out that she had just effed on off and didn't want to be with her family anymore. I don't think that sounds very likely, and I don't think that her captors keeping her for 27 years sounds likely. That being said, it might be people that were involved that are looking for, anything new that was taken from this documentary. I would be interested, particularly if the dates wouldn't really be easy for the public to know. Now, it's speculative because could it be coincidental? Of course it could be. But if you have the same IP address or IP address coming back to the same location, doing it year after year, then I think it does have some potential investigative value. Perhaps most notable in the revelations that have come out are the new details suggesting that Bradley at least has one child, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Now, while details regarding the possibility of a child remain vague, the source reportedly added that Bradley likely gave birth as a result of having to work in trafficking. For me, I would really focus on the potential child, this guy said. Now, this, again, I will look into the documentary, but there's going to be a lot of churn with this now that a new documentary is out. You're going to get people that want, for some unknown, ungodly reason, clout to insert themselves into this. So I will watch the documentary and give you guys a review, but I have not really kept up with this. So it will definitely be one of those that I'll give you my honest opinion about, but I haven't been too deeply involved in this potential case. Well, Tom Cruise was apparently embarrassed by Demi Moore's pregnancy. I mean, considering Tom Cruise is an alien and perhaps was hatched by an egg, I do understand how basic biological processes would confuse the hell out of him. Demi Moore said A Few Good Men co-star Tom Cruise was embarrassed about her being heavily pregnant while working on the 1992 legal drama. During a Q&A with New Yorker Festival on Saturday, the actress shared that she was almost 8 months pregnant with her now 34-year-old daughter Scout when she first ran lines with Cruise and director Rob Reiner before filming. I think Tom was quite embarrassed, Moore said, per People. I actually felt okay about it. I was moving around, though, right? And I can tell he was a bit awkward about that. Again, you're all weird Hollywood pretenders. I'm only not a weird Hollywood pretender because I don't have the money or the access to idiots. Well, to be fair, I wouldn't want to hang out with adult pretenders. The Substance star 62 mused that Cruise at 63 was uncomfortable because very few actresses at the time were having children due to the pressures of choosing between motherhood and having a Hollywood career. It's one of the many things for me that I just didn't feel made sense, she said of the choice women face. So I challenged that to say, why not? Why can't you have them both? But with that, I think came a lot of pressure to put myself in a sense to prove that it was possible, she continued. Moore said she was especially hard on herself when it came to being in shape for the film, in which she played a lawyer for the Navy's Internal Affairs Department and started working out before giving birth. So there you go. I mean, Tom Cruise being uncomfortable by biological human processes is not news. Well, maybe I should do this for my kids. I'm paying my daughters $35,000 to cut off their weddings. Sometimes it pays to say nay to the big day. Blowing a bunch of cash on a wedding bash wasn't worth it to Kate, a mom of 4 daughters who's bribing her daughters to forgo saying I do with extravagant, wedding days. I will pay each of my daughters $35,000 to not have a wedding, announced the Pennywise parent to over 1.5 million viewers of her viral video. Now, she captioned the clip in part saying, I've told them since they were young, they can either have a check or a wedding. Now, Katie's kiddos, however, simply can't have both. It's not that, the mom is anti-tying the knot. Instead, she, wants their daughters to avoid starting off married life deeply in debt, which seems about right. Honestly, Mr. Moe and I spent $1,000 for our wedding, and most of that expense was me because I was nearly 6 months pregnant and my original dress didn't work. That being said, don't go all in on a good day. I mean, if it's your jam, if you want to have all the little, sparkly doodads and bridesmaids and hysteria, and that's big important to you, do it within your own means. I don't care. I was happy because my wedding day was with the person I love and who annoys me. It is a yin and yang thing. Your husband is your best friend, but he's also the one that knows how to annoy you by chewing loudly in your ear. I'm just saying my Snapped episode is going to start with him eating a bag of Skittles near my face. It's just, that's how it's going to happen. Or pumpkin seeds, or it's going to involve chewing noises of some kind. My Snapped episode is. Well, it looks like new video has been released in the 15-year-old 15-year-old case of Lynn Brennan, who was murdered in her New Hampshire home. Now, new information has been released about the 15-year-old cold case that may help investigators find out who took the life of a New Hampshire mom. On October 11th, 2010, police were called to North River Road in Manchester to perform a welfare check on Lynn Brennan, 53, who had not been seen for about a week, according to the New Hampshire Department of Justice. Now, when officers entered her home, they found the mother of 3 dead with blunt force injuries and trauma. Now, Brennan was last seen in public on October 4th, 2010 at Bunny's Superette, off of Webster Street in Manchester at about 3:29 p.m. Now, it is believed her life was ended sometime before Sunday, October the 10th, even though she was not discovered until the following day. Now, authorities have released a video of Brennan buying milk and other items at the checkout counter of the store, hoping this could maybe lead authorities to her, killer. Now, she appears to be calm as she speaks to the cashier and fishes in her purse for her wallet. She collects her bags and steers the shopping cart away from the counter before she disappears from view. Now, in 2018, Brennan's sister spoke up to WMUR about the senselessness of the murder. And thank you so much. Ooh, New Jersey. I know I like you for a reason. Thank you. This is Sarah. Now, with her appearing to be calm, it doesn't seem like she maybe noticed anyone following her. So maybe there is something else that is prompting them to release this footage. Because, that's mostly they don't release things unless there's a reason behind them. Why would anyone want to take her life? Lisa Post told the outlet. She was a good person. It's unbearable sometimes, as the years go by, but you try to always find ways to cope and live with it, but it's always there, ever present. Now, if anyone has information about Brennan's homicide, they are urged to call the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit. But it does look like there might be something moving on this case because they are releasing this footage. They might not be sharing with us what is actually going on, but there might be some forward movement in this, and I do hope so for the family and for her daughters. Now, we need some good humanity. A World War II veteran's family enlisted the community to help fulfill his dying wish of a military burial amid the government shutdown. Florencio de Liva of Texas stepped up when his country called upon him to fight in World War II, and now his family and community have rallied around his honor, or to honor his sacrifice and grant his dying wish. English, it's only my only job, and there you go. Now, Florencio is a native of Waco and a former Army private first class who passed away on October 21st at the age of 99 and had hoped to be buried with a full military honors when his time came, but his family was recently told that such funerals by the government are on hold due to the shutdown. As we were making preparations, we were told due to the government shutdown. And thank you, Sarah, for gifting a membership. And that went to Lady Star. Congratulations. Welcome to the Church of Mo. We have sarcasm, dark chocolate, and true crime. It's the best trinity ever. Thank you so much. So she said that the Army never responded to the family's request to ensure that he received a burial befitting his service to his country. I was devastated. It was his one and only request, and to hear that it was not going to take place, I couldn't let that happen. Now, Florencio had enlisted in the Army at age 18 before joining with the 632nd Tank Destroyer Battalion as a gunner. He was stationed in the Philippines during his service. He loved his family, or he loved his country, and he was a proud veteran. Determined to grant her grandfather his burial wish, the granddaughter tried to contact every government official agency she could think of, as well as reaching out to the local community for help. Now, eventually, neighbors were able to connect her with the Casualty Assistance Center at Fort Hood, which rose to the occasion and said it would help. The community came together, his granddaughter said, adding this advice for other families in the same position: fight for your loved one, what they wanted, what their wishes were. Make it happen for them. My grandfather will receive the military honors he wanted. Now, Florencio's families describe him as a hero whose kind of spirit always inspired him. My dad was a person who cared about other people. He cared more about other people than himself, said Devia's son. Now, he will be laid to rest in Oak Cemetery in Waco beside his wife, Mary, whom he was married to for more than 60 years. So I'm glad that they were able to make this come through and give this man his honors. And sometimes we just need a god darn, good, like humanity is okay story once in a while. Because then we get into the final form, what in the Walmart rapture stories. So buckle in, you guys, because we've got some weirdness upcoming. But it's always fun, and what's the internet and the news without some weird?
The G-Keep Grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Y'all, I am already terrified of geese, but that's because geese are assholes. Like, you'd think being Canadian geese, they'd be nicer because they're Canadian. No, those geese are freaking evil. Now I have a whole new thing to fear. A magpie attacked a woman while she was working abroad, leaving her with a broken neck. I thought I had a bad thing with deer, but there are more birds around. A woman was attacked by a magpie while working abroad. Marciela Montalva moved to Ravenswood, a small remote town in the Australian outback, from Chile 4 months ago. Okay, why would you move to Australia? This is the first problem. Australia, everything wants to kill you. She'd been on in the country on a temporary working holiday visa, which allows the user to travel and work to fund their explorations. I came here full of dreams, ready to work hard and explore this beautiful country and enjoy the incredible landscapes and culture, always respecting the environment and doing my best, she wrote on GoFundMe. But on October 15th, during one of her days off, something unexpected happened to her when she was riding her bike near a post office. Halfway there, I was suddenly attacked by a magpie, lost control of my bicycle, and fell hard on the road, hitting the left side of my face on the concrete. I lost consciousness and woke up later in the mini medical unit. From there, I was airlifted by helicopter to Townsville University Hospital because I was in a remote area. Now, upon arriving at the hospital, doctors determined that the magpie had left quite a bit of damage, including multiple fractures in her left cheekbone, a rare fracture of her hyoid bone in her neck. And that's the little bone that we hear about all in trials that can be indicative of a, external neck hug. Now, doctors told me I'm lucky to be alive, Montalva emphasized. Unfortunately, my travel insurance has refused to cover any medical or surgical cost, claiming that the initial report was without a helmet while riding my bicycle. Now, she's raised at least $7,800 to help her cover the medical and surgical costs to have facial reconstructive surgery and restore her ability to eat and speak properly. I never thought that something like this would happen to me. I always try to stay safe, but I never would have predicted that a bird attack would lead me to have such a serious accident. Yikes. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. I have so many questions and none of them are good, but I either really need to live in this timeline or really need to restart the Matrix. Because if Steve is going to have a dirty talk OnlyFans, I'm out. I'm out of this timeline. CERN, you people in France or wherever you have the super collider, you can figure this shit out because I'm out. Look, I am fully taking on and claiming my Catillion DNA. If Steve from Blue's Clues starts doing a Smexy reading, I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. I can no longer live in this world. No. Former Blue's Clues star Steve Burns has driven fans wild after he contemplated starting an OnlyFans for validating dirty talk. I think my womb just fell out. Honey, you're so beautiful. You're validated. No. Just no. This is why population numbers are dropping. No. Just no. Now, Burns, 52, started on the hit TV show Blue's Clues from 1996 to 2002, but seems to now have a whole new audience after he humorously considered the sexy career move on this latest episode of his podcast, Alive. While Burns admitted to struggling with dirty talk, he could see himself doing a version of it in which he can seductively offer women praise and a listening ear. It's your own tickle me beta. Ew. I would rather... No. I can't even bring myself to dirty talk, he told guest Matlin Ward. Maybe I could have another life because I was a voiceover guy forever. I feel like because of my old job, I'm just not able to do that. I think it's vestigial from how I evolved professionally. I wouldn't even know how to do it. I feel like if I tried to do it, it would have a super nice guy feel to it. Like, hey, baby girl, I'm so valuing of your perspective right now. So basically, he's a male feminist. I can hear the grit. Ew, no, just no. None of this is going to happen. No, my first job as president, I am making sure this does not happen. Okay, this is some next level revelation crap and I will not allow this. This is not happening. I I I refuse to live in this timeline. I can't. That being said, if this is what gets your motor running, yay for you. Just no. I don't even know where to put this. A YouTuber, Tyler Oliveira, has been branded as an istophobe for going to an Indian village's messy poop throwing fight. Okie dokie. An American YouTuber is raising a holy stink after he filmed a dung flinging ritual in a remote Indian village. Now, Tyler Oliveira, 25, shared a teaser clip titled "Inside India's Poop Throwing Festival," where it quickly piled up more than 5 million views. But the video, taken at the Gorahaba festival, in which villagers hurl dry cow dung at each other as a part of a post-Diwali Hindu tradition, was criticized for ignoring the significance behind the smelly stunt. Just no. Never. Nope. I mean, could we interest you in dodgeball? Have you ever heard of dodgeball? It's really kind of fun. It involves no cow dung. You get to bean people in the face if you have bigger hands than I do. Have you ever thought of dodgeball, India? We'll give you some rubber balls. It'll be interesting. In the post, he shared a picture of himself in a hazmat suit and goggles covered in brown smears. Oh God, why? Why would, no, just, this is why I'm an inside cat. This is why I don't go out of my house. This is why I stay in home on my comfy heated seat, and I am okay just watching travel blogs. I'm okay. Happy Diwali. Yes, I went to India's poop throwing festival. It was the itchiest experience of my life, and I will never go back. Please pray that I survive. He accompanied a post with a poop emoji. Now, backlash from people, they're wallowing in poo. Well, it seems that they are just having a pig in poo time. Y'all, I don't know what to say that isn't going to get me nuked about this, so I have no words. You're ishy, my fellow. You can record poop in Western countries. So just, everyone is mad at him for, making fun of the poop festival. I don't know. I just saw Poop Festival and, I had to hit the headline. There you go. Well, an alarming study ranks the states that are most likely to survive a zombie apocalypse, and the prediction is dire for New Yorkers. Come on, Indiana, we are already mutated with high fructose corn syrup. Come on, genetic mutations are already in Indiana. We will be fine. Well, beware if you're in the Big Apple during the apocalypse. Heading to the hinterlands during a zombie apocalypse might seem like, a survival flick cliche. However, experts agree that population centers are terrible places to be should the undead rise from their graves. With New Jersey topping the list of least zombie-proof states, according to a recent survey by gambling site Canada Casino. Meanwhile, the Empire State placed 5th on the countdown, proving that even our legions of gritty citizens couldn't prevent us from getting overrun. Now, how does one scientifically gauge a seemingly far-fetched hypothetical? Experts at Canada Casino had a pretty smart solution. They evaluated each state's level of zombie preparedness scientifically based on 6 key metrics: population density, percentage of water area, number of community hospitals, number of airports, number of fishing, hunting, and trapping stores, and number of military bases. Now, the figures were calculated per 100,000 people, and each state was given an apocalypse readiness score out of 10. While a zombie invasion might sound like an idea relegated to Walking Dead, more than 1 in 10 Americans believe that this outcome is inevitable. Sign me up. Over half of those think that this outbreak will go down in the next 30 years. Sure. The Garden State isn't exactly Eden when it comes to surviving zombification, though. With its readiness score at just 1.66, New Jersey rated the least prepared state, namely because it boasts the highest population density in the country, with a whopping 1,308 people in at 1 square mile. Other factors include susceptibility to infection and include that New Jersey has just 1 airport, 2.2 hunting stores, and zero point 0.8 hospitals per 100,000 people. Now, coming in second was Connecticut. Meanwhile, California came in 4th place at 2.6, followed by New York at 2.61. There you go. So don't be anywhere near New York. Now, Alaska topped this list of states where people would want to hunker down at the end of the world. The Last Frontier notched a readiness score of 7.89 out of 10, with Canada Casino ranked pretty high because of their lack of population density. So there you go. The zombie apocalypse, they're already, we already have casino sites that are warning us about the zombie apocalypse. And what do Americans fear most? Well, we've done a study for that. It's not ghosts and ghouls that are keeping Americans up at the night before Halloween. This Scream season, U.S. citizens are far more afraid of government corruption, cyber terrorism, and other real-world issues, per a spine-tingling survey by California's Chapin University. Now, this so-called annual survey of American fears served to provide an in-depth look at the most common fears across the country and explore those anxieties and how they affect daily life, decision-making, and emotional well-being. Now, understanding what we're afraid of isn't stoking anxiety, it's putting those fears into context, said one of the leaders of the researchers. To shed light on what gives us the willies, researchers interviewed 1,015 adult Americans on a cornucopia of common fright triggers, from sharks to heights to even identity theft. Often the events that capture the most media and the most social media attention are rare and unusual because they're highlighted so vividly and so often we can feel like these are daily threats. To wit, the team noted that fear of crime has been on the rise, even though statistics show that the real deal has statistically been declining in recent years. I mean, I wouldn't go to Circle City, Indiana at midnight on a Saturday. But that's just me. I mean, I tend to notice, certain things. That being said, I really wouldn't go to capital city after midnight, but that's just me. For the 10th year in a row, corrupt politicians ranked first on the fear countdown. It's going to be real funny when the underwater aliens come up and they're like, look, we've seen your leaders. Don't take us to them. And we'll be like, no, we want you to destroy Congress. Like, no, we had this planned out. We thought you were going to save us, Glip Glorp. So there you go. Looks like corrupt politicians are what we're really afraid of. And I could have told you that already. Well, we have 3 rejects from humanity that need to be named and shamed because it is Lord Chippy time. And, justice is a journey. But Mo, Lord Chippy, and you guys, we all await at the end.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Sir, I hope they drop the soap and don't none of the, the girlfriends find it. Just none of them, allegedly in Minecraft. A road rage driver took the life of a 57-year-old pawpaw completing grocery deliveries for his wife. Now, a 57-year-old Missouri man completing grocery delivery orders with his wife was shot and killed by an angry driver during a road rage attack, police officers said. I killed a man that did not deserve it, said Laken Logan, 20, as he was talking about the incident to the police, according to a probable cause statement. Now, Cleveland Wright, the victim, was driving with his wife near the intersection of Choteau Traffic Way and Gardner Avenue in Kansas City just before 8:30 p.m. Logan opened fire on him following an interaction at a red light. Now, Wright allegedly passed Logan very closely on the passenger side while Logan was attempting to speed up to get ahead of cars, according to a coworker who was with Logan in his 2025 Chevrolet Trax when the incident occurred. Laken turned back onto the traffic way and began to follow the car, the coworker alleged. Laken was turning red and was really, really mad. The coworker said, hey, you need to chill. He pulled alongside the passenger side of the other car and said, you trying to hit me? And then he observed Laken to be holding a pistol. Now, according to the probable cause statement, Logan admitted to telling Wright, watch how you're driving, along with chasing him. He claimed that Wright swerved into his lane when he confronted Wright about it at the light. The victim allegedly showed a gun, according to Logan. Now, Laken got scared, so he fired multiple shots, police allege, citing Logan's statement to the detectives. Logan fired multiple shots toward the back windshield area of the other car. First, he stated he was aiming for the driver's side, but then he didn't know what he was aiming at. Now, Logan's coworker told the police that Wright was holding his arm up, but it wasn't pointed in their direction, and he said he could not see if there was anything physically in the decedent's hand before the time of the shooting. Laken drove away and the coworker asked him, why'd you do that? To which Laken replied multiple times, bro, I don't know. According to the probable cause affidavit, they drove back to their place of employment and finished their shift. What? Wright's wife allegedly admitted to police that he had a gun on him that night, with cops finding a Taurus 9mm handgun in the front driver's seat board that had a live round in the chamber, but the weapon was not fired. Now, the wife did observe Wright reach for what she thought was a firearm in the car shortly after she heard the gunshots. So this might be something that does turn into a self-defense thing. If both of these gentlemen were brandishing at each other, it might be something that Bronca looks into. It looks like a stupid, road rage incident that took the life of a grandfather. But right now, with both of these people having, force multipliers, we don't know what's going on. Now, Logan allegedly gave multiple stories about what he did with his force multiplier after the incident. Laken initially said he threw it in the Missouri River. Then he stated he sold it to an unknown male. Then he changed his story again to say he had sold it to a different male. So he's not coming off he's not your most reliable narrator. And what Bronca always brings up in these self-defense cases is that you have to look reasonable. So the fact that he's coming up with all these stories doesn't mean anything. Now, authorities are holding Logan at the Jackson County Jail on a $750,000 bond as of Sunday. His initial court appearance will be today at 11 a.m. And we are naming and shaming because if you want to be hammered and you're going to take someone's life, I'm going to rake you over the coals metaphorically, euphemistically. Allegedly in Minecraft, a hammered truck driver smashed into a motorcyclist at over 100 miles per hour, dragging him nearly a mile. Yes, my husband got them, Karen. I need to get with him because we have everything in boxes right now with construction. But yes, thank you very much. I need to get my thank you notes out. I am awful. I used to be a good thank you note person. I have gotten dead awful at it, but I definitely want to get back at it because I am so dead awful at it. An Arizona man was so intoxicated when he crashed into the back of a motorcyclist that it took him nearly a mile to realize that he was dragging the man behind him, causing the bike to catch on fire. Joel Stephen Goebel, 40, was sentenced to 22 years behind bars, followed by a 7-year probation for second-degree murder, leaving the scene of a fatal collision in the death of 61-year-old Daryl Evans. Now, according to Pinal County Attorney's Office, Goebel on October 5th, 2024, spent several hours drinking at different locations before he decided to drive his truck. He drove more than 100 miles per hour down US 60 in Apache Junction, where he quite literally drove directly into the back of Evans' motorcycle. Now, he hit the motorcycle so hard that, along with Evans, it became pinned to the grill of the truck. He dragged the motorcycle some 4,000 feet, roughly 3/4 of a mile. Yeah, he definitely is. He's he's sweating or draining the pipes today. I don't quite know, but something that involves hammering of some sort. And that the friction involved with, dragging that bike along actually caused the bike to catch on fire. Now, Goebel exited the highway on Idaho Road, got out, and tried to remove the motorcycle from the grill. Once he removed the bike, he hopped back into his truck and drove away, leaving Evans' body just behind. Just absolute trash behavior. Now, police eventually spotted Goebel driving away and pulled him over. He had a blood alcohol content of 0.132, and that was several hours after the crash. Now, Pinal County Attorney Brad Miller said that he had several prior DUI convictions and had his warrant out for arrest for another while he did this. So these are just evil butthole people. There is nothing more deeply selfish than knowing that you should not be behind a wheel and deciding to F on off and turn that on and just go hit people. Now, this was not an accident. This was a preventable tragedy fueled by reckless choices and a complete disregard for the law. The defendant's history of impaired driving, combined with his callous decision to flee while a man lay dying on the road, shows the worst kind of danger to our community. This conviction delivers justice for the victim and his loved ones, but also sends a clear message. Pinal County will not tolerate repeat offenders who choose to endanger innocent lives. Now, Evans' obituary said he lived in the Grand Canyon State since he was 6 years old and stayed because he loved it so much. Daryl was a free spirit who had a passion for music, strumming his guitar, and enjoying the freedom of riding motorcycles. Well, at least he's in for 22 years, but it's a 2-strike you're out when Mo's president. You get 1 DUI. Look, I have grace and atonement for everyone. 2, you don't ever drive again. Look, I'm just done. I'm done. Well, in Thinking Enthusiast of the Year, a hyper-obsessed ex-boyfriend hid in a woman's shower with a knife and her underwear on his face like a mask after sneaking into her house as part of a prank. Now, I mean, sweetheart, I don't want to say this, and now that I'm dressed up as Annie Oakley, I feel like I should effing say that, but don't effing try this in Appalachia, young man, because you wouldn't be around to give a lawsuit. A South Carolina man who allegedly thought it would be a great idea to prank his ex-girlfriend by sneaking into her house and hiding in her shower with a knife while wearing her underpants as a mask, but no pants or garments, is being sued by her for civil assault, causing great emotional distress, and just being a general moron fucktwat. The defendant's conduct and actions were so extreme and outrageous as to exceed all possible bounds of decency and should be regarded as an atrocious and utterly intolerable act in a civilized community. The victim's attorney, Bradley W. Bonneville, alleges in a 5-page legal complaint filed in Charleston County. Let's see if I can get the complaint, because sometimes they'll have the complaint. I'll see if I can find it, because this looks like, why the hell would you do this? Now, he is accused of sneaking into his ex's home on Westway Drive in Charleston through a detached garage apartment while she was not home. He allegedly then hid in the victim's shower with a pair of biker shorts concealing his face until she returned to the residence. According to a arrest report obtained by WCBD, he was allegedly in possession of a knife, though it's unclear what kind. Now, police say Arnold exited the shower after his ex-girlfriend arrived back at home, allegedly setting upon her using the knife to imitate stabbing and slicing moves on her. Now, he allegedly held the knife up toward the side of her head at one point, causing the victim to push him away. Now, the knife did not make contact with her during any of this point. Now, police said that after the encounter, Arnold tossed the knife on the floor and started giving his ex a neck hug in a prank. Why is this not being charged as actual assault? It does look like that this is in addition to actual charges. Now, at the time, he was then able, so basically, he tossed the knife on the floor, started giving her a not so consensual neck hug, and then she was able to rip the shorts off of his face and realize that it was her ex-boyfriend. Now, Arnold allegedly also told the woman that he was pranking her and he wanted to talk. She eventually ran into the main house and asked the family there to call 911. Now, he is being held at the Al Cannon Detention Center as he awaits his initial court appearance. The proceeding is scheduled for June 19th. Robert James. I asked 100 women when showering, what's your favorite soap? 99% of them replied, how the F did you get in here? Yeah, this is not a prank, and I don't think anyone's going to find this funny, but it will sure be funny to see him when he's in his 40s and 50s trying to explain to a 20-year-old in HR why he has this felony count. I mean, you do you. Well, New Jersey is not ready for the zombie apocalypse and apparently isn't experiencing a monkey apocalypse either, or infestation. Police in New Jersey said reports of monkeys on the loose in Newark are a social media hoax perpetuated by photos and videos that appear to be AI generated. Oh, damn, I thought Jumanji was coming back to life, and I would imagine that Jumanji would come to life in New Jersey. Newark Public Safety Director Emmanuel Miranda said that police have been receiving reports of wild monkeys on the loose in Georgia King Village on Thursday morning, one day after a local animal control received similar reports of monkeys on the street in Newark. Now, police did search the area for the gibbons and simians of all kind, but saw no signs of non-human primate activity. Now, Miranda said the reports are believed to be a result of hoax and AI. Officers have not located any monkeys. Any photos or videos posted on social media regarding this incident are likely AI generated. Well, you say that, but then you say we have underwater aliens coming through. So I need us to get a little, where are we going now? I just need to kind of understand this. Now, I don't want to be the bearer of terrible news, but if the alligators start to rise up, this is going to be bad. Researchers are raising red flags after observing concerning shifts in crocodile behavior. Well, I have a concerning shift in that I need some new boots if they're going to start trying to, team up against us. New research indicates that body temperatures of crocodiles are increasing and aligning with local heat waves in Australia. Oh, well, okay. I thought we were talking like they're starting to form a union. Okay. Apparently, a bunch of researchers tagged and tracked 203 crocodiles in far north Queensland, Australia, and they're trying to discover how crocodiles are responding to heat waves since the reptiles characteristically change their behaviors when it's necessary to cool down. Now, crocodiles do commonly seek shade or move to riverbeds at night or dive deeper into the water to cool off. Researchers have found that crocodiles are engaging in more cooling behavior because of the warming temperatures. Well, that's a big nothing burger. I thought you were going to tell us they were starting to, use switchblades or something, or segways. Because, who knew? But there you go. So at least the alligators aren't learning how to, download anything off of Timu yet. Let me see who is up so I can send you to someone. It looks like Lawyer You Know is on. No, I guess he's not on anymore. Do-do-do. Oh, that's because I'm on the wrong thing. Yeah, it could help if you were actually on the right video mode. That would be a great thing. I was like, that doesn't make sense. No, I'm a professional. I play one on television. I am going to be sending you over to Broken Baker. Have a wonderful day. Give him some love. And I will be hanging out and trying to edit a honest to God video. Pray for me. I might be drinking. It's going to be awesome. Thank you for spending your time with me. And remember, you guys, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat. And remember, since this is Halloween week, I will be showing up as, well, you know, different characters all week. So who will I be tomorrow? Who knows? I definitely will be thinking about it in a little bit. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, you guys. Bye.